Redskins. Matter of fact, all three games that day, the loser was ugly. Detroit was ugly. Dallas was pitiful. And the Giants equally pitiful. As for yesterday, let me run around the league quick. The Chiefs are here. Revis will be in the lineup this week. The Chiefs just cannot get their running game going. They ran the ball for 55 yards against the Bills yesterday. I was stunned that they lost this game yesterday. I really was. I didn't pick it because Kansas City was a heavy favorite, but I am surprised they lost. I really didn't think they would. Give Peter Schrager credit. He liked the Bills in this game. I just didn't see it. And they were driving late down 6. They had the ball where they looked like they could drive it and stick it in the end zone, and Alex Smith threw a terrible interception, and his game has fallen off dramatically at the wrong time. Now, they are still in first place, but they are 6-5 after their great start. The Raiders and the Chargers are both 5-6. They're at the Jets this week. Andy Reid was asked after the game about Mahomes, and he said no. He said, I got some other changes I'm going to make. I think he meant to the offensive line. I'm not making a change there. Andy Reid's offense is very intricate. It's going to be very hard for a rookie to run it. So I don't think they'll do that, even though they'd like to bring his arm to the Meadowlands. If it's another windy day, that could be a tough one for Smith. Titans beat the Colts. The Colts led that game all the way. They've lost so many games like that this year. You look at their record, they're 3-8, but they're 3-8, and for the most part, they've played teams very, very competitively. Lose this game 20-16, led it all the way. Tennessee stuck it in the end zone in the fourth quarter, and that was it. Were able to win the game. Not a lot of offense in the game at all, but a 20-16 win for the Titans, which with the Jacksonville loss propelled the Titans back up to a tie atop the division. Actually, they lead the division right now. That's the one game I got wrong yesterday. I went 3-1, and I lost the Colt game by a half point. The Colts was 3.5. They lost by 4. Falcons jumped all over the Buccaneers. Then the game got close, and the Falcons got the ball. Bucs went deep in the territory, down 7. Went for the tie, didn't get it on fourth down. The Falcons took over, ran out basically the rest of the game, and stuck it in the end zone with a minute left and won by 2 touchdowns. Julio Jones had a incredible day yesterday. He has not had a great year, but yesterday he had one of those incomparable days. 253 yards yesterday. He had 12 catches for 253 yards. He caught a 51-yard pass from Sanu. He caught a 25-yard pass from Ryan. Among his 12 for 253, as he put on one of those shows yesterday. And the Falcons right now are back in the middle of that division. 8-3, because Carolina won and New Orleans lost. 7-4 for Atlanta. And you realize what's going to happen in that division. They all have so many close games to play, and they play each other. Big game this week, Minnesota at Atlanta. Atlanta is a team that could still go to the Super Bowl. They have the ability. They have the personnel. The question is, can they run the table here? They got 2 games with the Saints, a game left for Carolina. They play the toughest schedule in the league. So the playoffs are going to basically be on right now for Atlanta because they're going to play good teams every week. They have Minnesota this week. They have 2 games left with Atlanta. They close with Carolina. They have big games left against winning teams. 4 of the 5 records they're going to play are 8-3, 8-3, and 9-2. They have games against those 3 teams. Technically, based on record, they face the toughest schedule in the league the rest of the way. And that's what they'll face to try and make the playoffs. So if they make it, they'll have absolutely earned it. Bengals beat the Browns. That was one of my picks. They beat them by 2 touchdowns. Browns usually are heard from in the middle of the game, and then they just fall apart. Browns outgained the Bengals from scrimmage yesterday, but they do that a lot and just can't get the job done as they lose again. Bengals are still in the mess, but their schedule is not easy. This week, Cincinnati is Monday night hosting Pittsburgh in a game they have to win if they want to have any chance. They're 5-6. They have to beat Pitt this week in Cincinnati if they're going to have any chance to do anything. Absolutely have to do that this week. Pats beat the Dolphins. Game got a little close in the middle, but again, Dolphins moved the Dolphins moved the ball a little in the middle of the game. Other than that, early Pats, late Pats, 35-17. Pats win it by 18. They're favored 17 in typical Pats. That's the way they go. Look at the Pats at 9-2. They have only division games in the NFC East. This week they're at Buffalo. They still have the Jets. They still have a trip to Miami. And they have a game with Pittsburgh on the 17th at Pittsburgh. But if you watched Pittsburgh last night, tell me how that Pittsburgh defense is going to be able to contain New England. I mean, I just don't see them doing it. They can score. They got a great offense. I just can't see them. They can play a shootout. I think that's what they'll wind up playing. Rams beat the Saints. I thought they would. They did a good job, despite the fact Kamara had a huge game yesterday. Really was just very impressive in every way. Receiving, he had 100 yards. Rushing, he had 85 yards on 5 carries. Very impressive showing for Kamara. But the Rams were able to hold on, get the lead, and hold on the rest of the way and win the game. Big win for them at 26-20. Rams this week at Arizona. New Orleans this week. Where is New Orleans? Let's see. New Orleans is Carolina at New Orleans. So enormous game in that division. And a lot of big games to come every week in that division. This week, Carolina at New Orleans. A lot of big games coming up this week. I'll get to that in a minute. Cardinals, Jaguars. I watched the end of this game because nothing was close, so I watched the end of this game. I went to this game just as it got tied up. Arizona took the lead because Campbell sacked Gabbert, who was quarterbacking, and then ran it in for a touchdown to give Jacksonville a 1-point lead. Carolina came back. Arizona came back, tied the game up. Now, game is tied 24 up. Fourth quarter. Final minutes. Jacksonville is driving. Now, Bortles tied the game up with 7 minutes left with a touchdown run. They have the ball. They are driving for the go-ahead score. They turn the ball over. He throws a terrible pass. The Honey Badger intercepts it. Now, Jacksonville has got the ball back, though, and they're in their own end. Arizona has one timeout. Jacksonville gets the ball. Final seconds, if they ran it 3 times, they go to overtime. They run it on first down. They're in no real hurry. They throw an incompletion on second down. Now you know, hey, are you going to dare to throw it on third down in your own end? If you run it, you know they're going to call timeout. They run it on third down, inside handoff. If they had run it 3 times, overtime. Instead, they punt the ball back. Gabbert hits 2 pass plays. They make a 57-yarder. The head coach absolutely responsible for costing his team the game. You had no idea you weren't even compelled to go after it. You weren't trying to go after it. You ran it on first down. You were lollygagging around. You threw it on second down for some ridiculous reason. They only had 1 timeout. They couldn't stop the clock. And then you, on third down, ran it. They called timeout, and they get the ball back, and they win the game. Ridiculous loss put right on the shoulders of their quarterback and then put right on the shoulders of Marone. So a terrible loss for Jacksonville. Raiders and Broncos, another fight for Talib and Crabtree. What else is new? This game got close. It was 21-0. Then the Broncos got a little closer, 21-14. But the Raiders at least won. The Broncos just are nowhere. Neither team's going anywhere. Seattle wins. I don't take them seriously. Late in that game, the fans, they were very upset because here's what happened. Beathard, who has tried really hard for them, he played great against the Giants. He got hurt late in the game, and the fans all cheered. Why? Because they wanted to see Garoppolo. So everyone was annoyed that they cheered. Wait, did you want them not to cheer for Garoppolo? They were waiting for this kid. You built them up to the moon, and Garoppolo goes in there, and he looks like Johnny Unitas when he goes in there. He looks great. Throws a touchdown pass. Couldn't have looked better. Threw a better pass than Beathard's ever thrown in his life. And now that's what you have to hope for. You know what I said to someone who's a Niner fan? That's the first of many, many, many touchdowns, because that's what it'll be. So he threw a 22. What was the touchdown pass? It wasn't 22. It was 10 was a touchdown pass late in the game. So, and everyone got excited. It was the last play of the game. Threw a touchdown pass. Garoppolo went 2 for 2 for 18 yards and a touchdown. I guess they're going to play him now. Beathard got hurt. So now it's Garoppolo's time. He'll be the quarterback there for a long time. And what other game? Oh, then the Sunday night game, we had the Pitt and Green Bay. Green Bay had been shut out by Baltimore the week before, and Pitt was very lucky to win this game. They turned the ball over too many times. They were lackluster on defense. Green Bay played well. Hundley did a good job. But the Steelers win it to keep alive their confrontation on the 17th with New England. It'll decide probably home field. The question's going to be, where does New England beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs? Because I can't buy that Pittsburgh's going to beat New England. I just can't buy it. I got to see it. They have to do it before I'm going to believe it. That's where I am with those two teams. I have to see New England. Even if Pittsburgh beats them in the regular season, it won't do enough for me. I'll still believe New England will beat them the second time they play. So I just don't trust Pittsburgh when they're playing New England. I'm sorry. I've seen too much of that act. And their defense, although it's talented, you just wonder why it gives up so many big plays and why it doesn't look great in those games. I just don't get it. But that's where we are. Now, this week, Washington and Dallas, what's left of the Cowboys. Kansas City's in town to take on the Jets, reeling. Giants are in Oakland. Who cares? That won't be pretty. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, no. Minnesota at Atlanta, terrific game. New England at Buffalo. Well, the Bills winning last week, there's still a little life there at 6-5. So that's the last straw in the division for the Pats. Carolina, New Orleans. Philly, Seattle on Sunday night's good. Philly's got them, and then next week the Rams, so they're staying out there on the West Coast for 2 weeks. And then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati is the Monday night game. Not a bad week. Then the next week after that, it's not bad. Then the 17th is the big game of the season. Pittsburgh against New England. And New England now 9-2. Remember it looked like New England was going to basically lose 4 or 5 games this year? Well, now they're 9-2 and just rolling right along, and they're unbeaten on the road. Here's the Mink Man.